Hello everyone, I'm Archana Prajapati from the core event team of Developer Student Club BPPIMT Institute of Management and Technology. So, as informed in our inauguration event, we are back with our first ever technical event on the most common version control system among the developers, that is Git and Github, by our DSC lead Ayushman Kumar. In this session, we will dive into the basics of Git and GitHub for open source collaborations. We will also learn how to add and push our code changes, create and merge branches for projects, and send pull requests to make our updates mainstream. So, without any further ado, I would hand over the microphone to the speaker for today's event, our DSC lead, Ayushman Kumar.
Thank you, Archana, for your introduction. So, hello world. Thanks for joining us today for our first technical event. So, this is the month of October, and open source collaborations or the open source contributions are on fire. So, we chose this particular event as our first technical event. So, I'm sharing my screen. Wait. Right. Yeah. So is my screen visible? Please let me know in the chats below. Okay. Fine. Then let's start. So hello everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone who is live, who is watching our live stream. So I'm Ayushman Kumar, the Developer Students Club lead for BPPIMT Institute of Management and Technology. And this is our first event, Get Started with Git and GitHub. So yes, so as I said that it's the month of October and the open source contributions are on fire. So before I start this event, I would like to announce about this amazing program, Hacktoberfest by DigitalOcean and Diff, who are actually doing such a great job uh, uh, in promoting open source and enhancing open source. And I would request everyone to go and have a look at this. The links for this particular event will be shared in the description box. And so I know that there are a lot of beginners here who actually don't know about open source, or who are really new to open source and they don't really know how to get started. So we planned this event in a beginner friendly way, and we will be teaching you everything from the very basics, from the very scratch, such that you will be comfortable in contributing to open source and hence participate in programs like Hacktoberfest or Google Summer of Code. Okay, so let's begin. Yes. So yes, share us your experience on Twitter and LinkedIn. Don't forget to tag Google Devs, Google Students, and DSC BPPIMT, and use the hashtag Developer Student Clubs. Okay, so we'd like to know about your stories, about your excitement. So yes, please do it. We will love to share your posts. Let's start. So why Git and GitHub? So so yes, we at Developer Students Clubs, we believe in collaborations. We are ready to collaborate with students who love to make projects, who wants to make products. And here Git and GitHub are the tools which will be very much needed in collaborating with us or collaborating everywhere. So hence Git and GitHub. Okay, we believe in community contribution. To me and many developers like me, the community contributions has been one of the major driving force why we are here today. Just think about tools, websites like Stack Overflow. You face any problem, you get a bug, you copy that particular bug, and damn, you get the answer to that bug. Why is that bug occurring? How can you solve that bug? And suppose if you don't get the answer for that bug, you go and write your question there, and in less than 5 minutes, some developer from any part of the world, they will answer to your question. Why? This is just because of the community. Yes, we often get confused about how to get started with a particular project. So we do refer some particular project in that particular domain, and we get the code from maybe say GitHub or Bitbucket. So that also is there because of the community that we are in. So yes, so we also believe in community contribution, and we would also like to contribute to the community. Okay, now the power of Git and GitHub enhances the power of open source. Now talking about open source and why is it so much powerful and effective. Uh, you think about a world where everything was closed source. Just think, if Python was closed source, would we be able to do so many great things with Python? Just think about, what if, so many cool libraries, Python libraries, like TensorFlow, like PyTorch, like say NumPy, if they were open, they were not open source, if they were closed source, would we be able to make such amazing machine learning or deep learning applications? I'm sure it would be much tough than it is now, and that is all thanks to the open source community and the open source, the idea of open source, and hence Git and GitHub, which will help us contribute to the open source community, the open source environment, the open source world. And yes, Git and GitHub are one of the major tools which are used in the software development in cycle. So if you join any company or you're working on any project, Git and GitHub are the tools that is very much needed for you to like collaborate with them to work for that particular company, and hence Git and GitHub. And yes, it will help you build your open source profile for sure. So in this particular session, I will be talking about how you can use Git and GitHub. We will go through the basics of Git and GitHub and how can you build your open source profile using Git and GitHub. Hence, how can you get started with open source development? So without waiting much, let's start. So what is Git? So according to Wikipedia, Git is a distributed version control system for tracking changes in open source during software development. It is designed for coordinating work among programmers, but it can be used to track changes in any set of files. Its goal includes speed, data integrity, and support for distributed nonlinear workflows. So, so the main key points in this definition is that version controlling system, which I will be talking about in the next slide. Coordinating work among programmers. Yes, it helps you to coordinate among your teammates. Suppose 4 people are working on a project, or if 100 people are working on a project, Git helps those 100 or 4 people to collaborate and work effectively and efficiently. It helps us to track changes. Suppose if 4 people are working on a project, and suppose if one of the person from in that project team, if they write a code which causes a bug, so you can track that, whose line of code is creating that particular bug, and you can easily track and go and recover that bug. So yes, it helps us track changes. It also helps us track our files, and we will be demonstrating each and everything how it's done in a very beginner friendly way. So yes, its goal is to include speed. Yeah, if something is making our work efficient, so yes, speed is increased. Data integrity and support for distributed nonlinear workflow. Now, distributed nonlinear workflow is one of the most important things and one of the most amazing things about Git. Suppose you're working on a project, right? So you are at stage 1 of the project, then you go to stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and you get a base project for yourself. Now you have this base project from which suppose 5 different projects can be made. Now it was linear. When you go from stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it was a linear workflow. Now from this base project, you can make another 5 projects by building so now it can be distributed non-linearly, and from this base project another 5 projects can be made. We will also show you about how you can do this in this particular live session. So let's start. So what is version control? Okay, or version control system. So here we'll not be talking, we'll not be learning about this from like a source code point of view, but we'll be talking about this in from a like a poster point of view. Suppose you want to design a poster, right? So you have wait. So you have this poster here. So there are initially some text in this poster, and you call this version of the poster version 1, and this green dot represents that this is the final version which I have worked on. So I have this final version of the project. Cool. uh, okay, so I have this final version of my project, and suppose if I want to make some changes into this project, and I suppose add this particular artwork to my poster, and I get the version 2 of my project, and this is my current version, right? This is my current poster. Now suppose if I want to add something else to this project, I get version 3 of this particular poster, and then this is my final poster, right? I added a small logo to this particular thing, and I like kind of added some space between the lines. This is my version 3 of my poster. Suppose I add this particular artwork to this poster, right? And I get the version 4 of this poster. Cool. So you see, now I feel that not I, but someone in my team feels that, this particular artwork, it's not looking good. We think that, the previous version was better. So what we can do, we can get back to our previous version and stick to this particular poster. Okay. Now what now this is possible just because we are using a version control system, which helps us get back to our previous versions. Now, suppose if I want to add something to this, if I want to make changes, if I want to make multiple posters out of this, now I can use it. Now see, from version 1 to 2, 2 to 3 to 3 to 4, it was a linear workflow, right? Now from version 3, you can make any kind of thing. You can add a small logo here, you can change the background, you can add more lines, you can reduce the lines or something. Now this will become non-linear. Now suppose if I want to like enhance this particular poster even more, so I will be kind of adding a background, and this will be my final poster. So now this particular thing is only possible because we have something known as a version control system. Cool. In case if you have any doubt or anything, you can drop your comments in the chat box. We will be covering all the questions after this, after all the slides are over. Okay. So yes, as I have prompted and I have mentioned in the Discord channel that you have to install Git from this particular link, gitscm.com. So I would like I would suggest that if you have Git SCM installed in your computer, it would be great, because we will be kind of doing hands-on session where I'll be teaching you how you can use this Git tool and you can get started with open source. And believe me, it's a very beginner friendly course. It's a very beginner friendly session. It will be a very beginner friendly session, and the codes are really small, so it won't take you much time. You can just open a small Git bash window alongside with this live session and you can get started with it. So yes, so people who are using Windows, I would request you to go to this particular link and download it from the internet. People who are using Mac or Linux, all they need to do is write Git on their terminals, and if Git is installed, it will not throw error message. If Git is not installed, they will provide you the command to install Git in the computer system. So yes, that's it. For Windows user, you have to go here and install Git. So these are a few companies and projects which uses Git. I don't need to tell much about these companies. They are pretty much famous in developers community. So yes, so let's get our hands dirty. चलिए शुरू करते हैं. So yes, so before we get started with Git or the Git commands, we need to be familiar with the normal basic bash commands or the CMD, or you say terminal commands. So these are few commands that I will be demonstrating right now, and after this I will be switching to the Git commands. So the first command is pwd. This will return if I write pwd and hit enter on my Git bash. If you want, you can open your Git bash alongside with this live session, and you can do this. You can test this out. So if you write pwd and hit enter, you will be getting the current directory in which you are. Now, if you write ls, it will list all the files and folders that are inside that particular directory or in that particular directory. Suppose, for instance, here I am at home/dsc. Okay, so my pwd will be returning me home/dsc. If I write ls, it will be returning me all the files that are in this dsc folder. If I write mkdir and then first or something, so mkdir is used to make a new directory, hence name mk, make directory. A make directory will create a folder with the name which is like given here. So if I write make directory mkdir first, so it will make a directory first. So if I then ls and if I do ls, which I have listed, which I have stated here, it will show the folder first here. Okay. Now then I will cd into first, that is change my directory to first. That is I will get inside the folder which I made first. The name of the folder is first, and using the cd command I can enter this particular directory. Okay. So I'll cd into my first folder, and then you can see that my directory changes, and then I can use the command touch space and the file name with the extension. So this will create a file named as firstfile.txt. So I'm showing you a hands-on demo on how this particular thing works. So let me open my Git bash. Okay. So I'll write Git and I'll open Git bash. I think this is big enough. So yes, the first command which I demonstrated was pwd. That will give me my current location. For here it's C, I use users and I use. After I did ls, the ls command gives me all the files that are in my this particular directory. Cool. So if I open my users, so you can see all these particular files are there in my this terminal. Now wait. Okay. Now if I want to change my directory, I will be using cd and the name of the folder. For instance, here documents. Again, I will do an ls and see what's there in my documents folder. Again, if I want to go to my folder named programming, I can see that what's there, and then I will do an ls and I will see what's there in my programming folder. And similarly, I will go here to my folder named as testing. I can ls and see what's there in my testing folder. To get a directory back, so you need to write cd and dot dot, and you will get one folder before. So see, you can see I did a cd dot dot, and I entered I entered programming folder. Cool. So again, let me go to my testing and let me create a folder here. So I will write make dir mkdir, and let's call it first tech DSC. I will do an ls and see that you can see that here is the first folder being created, first tech DSC. I can switch, I can change my directory to first and tech DSC. I can see that there's nothing in this particular folder. Cool. Now there's nothing in this particular folder. Now I can use the touch command to add add this particular file in the directory. I can write touch suppose first file dot say txt. Okay, txt. I'll do an ls and see that this first file dot txt is there in my particular particular folder. So let's see where is this present in my in my GUI. So in my documents, I'll go to programming, I'll go to testing, again first tech DSC, and here is my first file. So these are some basic commands which you need to know to get started with using the Git tools and the Git commands. Okay, let's continue. So yeah, so if you want to see if Git is successfully working on your computer or your terminal, you need to write the enter. If you write the word Git and press enter, if it works fine, then your congratulations, your Git is working well. And if it throws an error, that means you have not installed Git correctly. So yes, that is the work of Git. Wait a second. So yes, now this is the first Git command that we'll be using. That is Git status. Now Git status helps us to know the state of the repository. Now in this case, if Git status works fine, that means your particular folder is a Git repository. I'll get back. First let me tell you what is repository. Now repository is that particular folder which contains your project, and it's that particular folder which is accessible to the version controlling system. That means if you don't have a repository, then you cannot use your version controlling tool like Git there. So what you need to do is you need to initialize that particular folder as a repository. To do that, you need to write this particular command, git init. Now once you write git init, you will see that it prompts, it shows you a message that the Git is the repository successfully created. Now let me demonstrate how it's done. So I get back to this terminal and I'm in my particular folder named first tech DSC. So what I'll do is I will write git first. So see, if it gives you a message like this, that means Git is successfully installed. And if it shows an error, then you need to install Git computer. Okay. Okay. I'll do git status, and you see it's saying paddle, not a Git repository. So it's not a Git, right? So what I need to do, I need to write git init. It tells me it initialized an empty Git repository in this particular directory. Okay, now what will this git init do? This git init will create a hidden folder named as .git, which will not be, you will not be able to see if you write ls. Now if I write lsa, then you will be able to see this also lists the empty hidden directories. So if I come here, I cannot see this, but if I go and check the empty directory, so you can find that this particular folder is created. Now this particular thing will be helping us in working with our version control system. Cool. So this was easy. So yes, here it is. So your repository is successfully made. Moving on. So What are the steps that you need to follow while using Git? Now, these steps may differ for beginners and advanced users. So, since I said that this will be like for the beginner students, so I'll show you the like the most common steps that a beginner uses to get started with open source and what they use to like contribute to any open source project or like working with Git and Github. So, so as I said, the first thing is to check if the folder is a repo or not. If it's a repo, then it's fine. If it's not a repo, you need to use the command git init. Then you can go and edit your code. You can make your files. You can start working in that repository, and you can save your changes and everything. Then you need to check the status of the repo. Now, what this test, what the status will tell you. Uh, to check the status, you need to write this particular command git status. Now this will tell you if your particular folder is a repo or not. First, second, it will tell you if your particular repo, if the files you made, the files you changed in that particular repository, are they been added to the repository or not? That means, suppose I have this file, first file.txt. It is there in the folder, right? It's there in the first tech DSC folder. But is it really added to the repository? No, because you need to add them manually into the repository. Okay, so you will find the files colored in red color. That means your files are not being added to the repository. So you need to add those files in the repository, and you're using the command git add and the name of the particular file. For instance, for me, it's first text.txt. And suppose if you have multiple files, if you have say 100 files, 50 files, you cannot add each and every file manually. For in that case, we'll be using git add. We'll give a space and dot. This will add all the files in a repository at once. Okay. Now, as soon as I add all the files to the repository, again I will check my status. And as soon as I check my status, I'll find that this time all the files which were appearing in red now appears in green color. That means your files are being added to the repository successful. Cool. Now, now you need to commit all your changes. Now now from this part, from this step where you have added your files to repository, you can again delete it from your repository. That's up to you. But if in case if you want to delete your files on repository, you can use one command which is like git rm, which I'll talk about it later in the practical demonstration. So if so suppose you have made all the changes and your files appear in green color, then you need to commit your changes. And when you commit your changes, that means you are locking that particular change into your repository, and it will be logged in the git log command, which I'll be talking about later. So yes, so the first thing is to change your code, make all your changes. Second, you need to check the status. If it's in red, if files are in red, you need to git add. Again, you will check the status. If it's in green, then it's fine. If it's still in red, you need to add. You need to use the command git add. Again, you need to check the status. So you will find that every file is in green color. And lastly, you need to commit all your changes. So to commit all my changes, I need to use the command git commit -m, and I have to write a meaningful message. Suppose if I am working on a web project and I have added my social media handles to the footer of that that website. So what I can do, I can write here like git commit m, and in inverted commas I can write added the social media handles. Uh, that's it. And again, you can go back to step 2 and do your other changes in code or add something or things like that. Cool. Um, so yes, so here are the codes that we will be writing. So yes, first we will check the Git status, then we will add our files. Again, we will check the Git status, then we will commit our changes, and we'll add a message while committing. This is really helpful when we work on big projects, and meaningful comments are really important in that case. And then we can do a git push. Git push, I'll talk about git push later. So for the first time users who will be using Git for the very first time, they just need to add these lines just once on their computer. From next time they need not use these commands. So these are git config, use state your username, and again git config global, state your email address. This will help the Git to log the changes you made in the log files. So let me demonstrate practically, so you will get a broader overview about what I am talking about. So now I am, you can see that now I write git status and it's a repository. Cool. And you can see that this first file.txt is shown in red. Now what's there in first file.txt? To see that, let me open this file and see what's there. So I will write notepad and write first.txt. So this is an empty folder, right? This is an empty file. Cool. Now what I will do, I'll maybe I can write something like hello world. I'll save this, and again I will check my git status, and I'll still find this in red color because I have not added my files to the repository. So what I need to do is I need to add these files to the repository. Cool. So to add these files to the repository, I will do git add and full stop enter. Now this adds all the untracked files into the repository. Now I can again do a git status, and you can see that this particular file has been converted to green color, right? So suppose if I again want to remove it from the repository, what I can do is use this particular command given by git. So if I write git rm cast first file.txt, and again I will do git status, again I can see that this is in red color. Again I will do a git add and git status, and I see that it's again in green color. Okay, now this particular file is being added to your repository. Now you need to commit your changes in that particular repository. The changes you make in the repository, you need to add those changes to the repository. For that, you need to write git commit -m, and you need to add a message. My message with my this is a sample demo. And as soon as I press enter, your changes are being locked, and I can see one file changes, one insertion, create a mode, this particular file.txt. Okay, and this is the message which I have given. Okay, now I can do a git status, and I'll see that there is nothing to change. That means your changes are being committed and you have your first version of your particular project. So if I want to see what are the changes which I made, or what are the commits that I have made, so yeah, I can use the command git log, and I can see that here is a hash code, and the author Ayushman Kumar 7. Here's my email address, and the date, time, and everything, right? And the message which I have provided here. Okay, so that's it. That's okay. So let's continue. So a few more git commands. Let me demonstrate about that. So the first is git log, which I showed you right now. This is git log, which I showed you right now. Second is git diff. That is the difference between the changes you made. That means, suppose if I have written hello world, and now if I write hello world, welcome to my world, like hello world, welcome everyone, then I can see the changes which I made and the lines on which I have made my changes. You can use the something known as git branch to make multiple branches. What I have stated earlier, that you have a base project, right? And out of that base project, you need to work on a particular feature. If you want to make a different project from that particular thing, then you can, distribute your particular base project into different branches, right? Suppose if you have this base project and you have this branch name, suppose main branch, so you can make a different project out of that particular project, calling it a branch like a main substitute or something else. And you can have, suppose, main A, main B, main C, main D, and you can work on simultaneously different projects from that particular base project. And that is the work of git branch. And git checkout is being used to change your branches. Suppose if you are in main B, then you can use git checkout main A, and you will be like change. You will be your branch, your current branch will be changed to git to main A. Now these are a few more commands, git commands, which I'll show if possible uh, in the time. So as a note, so there are many more git commands which we may cover in our future sessions, and since this session was designed for absolute beginners, we didn't add it here. If you want to learn more, go and check out Git's official documentation here. So that's it. uh, so yes, now we come to GitHub. So I would request everyone to go to this particular link and create a GitHub account if you don't have one. In the meantime, let's take a 2 minutes break, after which I'll return. Uh, I'll request everyone to go and make an account on GitHub, such that you can go and get started with open source collaboration. And we at DSC had also planned to help students to make PRs, pull requests, which I'll be talking about later. So yes, go and please make account on github.com. Let's take a break of 2 minutes. Okay, so welcome back. Welcome back. So I guess most of you are having a GitHub account, and many you can, in these 2 minutes, you have created your GitHub account. So let's have a GitHub walkthrough. Okay, cool. So yeah, so once you are into GitHub and you logged in up with your account, then you can find this particular page. right? Here you have all the repositories. For new users, you won't have any repository, but with time, I'm sure that you will be having many repositories, and you have contributed to many open source projects in in this span of a year. I'm sure, and I'll be promoting you, and I'll be helping you guys to make awesome contributions for sure. So. Uh, So here you can see all your pull requests, the issues, your marketplace. You have things which you can buy for your projects. Though for beginners, it's not very much needed. And you have this explore tab where you can go and explore all the codes. You can uh, explore pretty much everything, and it's based upon your like past projects which you have viewed. So if you can see that recently I was working on audio processing, and I was like kind of working with audio spectrum and FFT fast Fourier transform and stuff. So I got this particular this suggestion. I was also working with PyTorch these days, so I got this particular suggestion. So you can pretty much go and explore the things which they suggest. It's all based upon your past experience. Here are topics which you can like go and explore. Suppose if I want to work on a project which is using Django, so I click on Django. Django is a web application framework for Python. It's pretty much famous. I'm sure most of you know about this. So first, obviously the Django is open source, so you can go and see Django's code, what's there behind, what happens behind the scene when you create a Django app. So or a Django project, you can now in this okay, now in this particular page you can see that you have this project name Django. Here are all the codes that are needed, which are used in making this Django framework. Here are the pull requests. Now, what are pull requests? Now, pull requests are the changes. Suppose if I want to work in your project, right? So you have a big project in which you cannot allow everyone to contribute. You cannot allow everyone to make changes as per their wish. There must be a maintainer of that project. Now, what happens? Suppose if I want to contribute to Django programming, Django framework, then what I will be making a copy of this particular framework, and I will be working on that particular copy. Now, whatever changes I have to make on that particular copy, I will make all the changes on that particular copy, and I will request the maintainers of Django. That is, I will make a pull request. Do you know? Please look into this, and if you find this useful, please add it to your particular project. Once you let the once the maintainer adds your contribution to their project, it will be showing merged. That means they have merged your changes to their project, and you become a contributor to this particular open source project. You can see there are three kinds of PRs or pull requests. One is the open PR, which are not yet being merged yet. Now, in the closed PRs, we have like the closed PRs which were not accepted. You can see there are so many. Let me zoom it out or zoom in. Okay, you can see that there are so many rejected PRs here, and this purple one says that it's been merged and it's been approved, right? So these are pull requests. In this particular session, I'll tell you how you can make a PR and work with this. Okay, so this was all about this particular project Django. Here are fork. Now, what is fork? Now, fork will enable you to make the copy of that particular project, and you can also see here it's as I hover on the fork button, it shows fork your own copy of Django to your account. Okay, now you can start this project if you like this project. You can watch this project if you want to track what happens in this particular repository. You can sponsor this project if it really helped you in getting something or building your dream project or something. So it's up to you. It's up to you. It's free. It's open sourced. It's you can go and build anything that you want, and it's up to you. It's if you want to like help them, support them because they supported you in making your dream project or making something great which adds value to your resume or your career. So it's up to you. If you want to go and sponsor them, you can go and sponsor them. Okay, let's get back to this. So here you can see you can make a new repository. You can import a repository. You can just okay. It will stick to only repository, right? I can go here. I can like click on my profile. Okay, now this is my profile. I have 100 repositories. I have okay, this is a dummy project, so let's not talk about this. Okay, I have 67 followers. I am following 36 people, and here are my coordinates. Here are my pinned like repositories where I have contributed. I've contributed to TensorFlow models, TensorFlow. These are a few of my projects. A few of my projects. This is the timeline with GitHub's tracks. So you can see that my major contribution starts from October, and from there I have been contributing. And this is the timeline which tells how much I contribute to open source. So I'm sure if you do the same, your timeline will look even greater, even better. So I have 1027 contributions from here to here. Okay, um, that's all about my my profile. You can go and enhance your profiles. These are the organizations where I am. Here are a few of my highlights and which GitHub gives me pro developer or like GitHub pro user or developer program member or Arctic Code Vault contributor. Uh, Here are the repositories, all the repositories which I am having. You can go and have a look on this. You can go and if you want to contribute, you ping me. I'll guide you how you can contribute to my projects. It will just enhance my projects and it will also enhance your open source profile. So you can go and pretty much uh, explore what you can do with my projects or with anyone's project. It's not necessary that you need to contribute to my projects only. Um, so there are a lot. There are a lot. Uh, so yes, okay. The repositories are of two types. One is public and another is private. So the public repositories can be seen by anyone. The private repositories can be seen by only me and the collaborators who are working on this particular project. So this is a private project which I don't want everyone to see because it was part of my internship. So it is kept private. Okay, that's it about the GitHub interface. Now let's see how we can connect Git and GitHub. So okay, so since now we were not using internet for doing these things. All we were doing is that we are writing this on our local system. This does not use as internet. Now we'll be using internet. Now this is our local repository. Whatever we do offline is there in our local repository. And once we push this project here, it will be there in our remote repository. Okay, or you can call it like an online repository or the offline. You can call it like online repository, offline repository, but the standard terms are remote repo and the local repo. So now we are here in the remote repo, right? Local repo. Now I want to push this particular file here. Now there are two ways in which I can do this. I can either drag and drop it here, or I will do it in the standard way. Now it is pretty much recommended for everyone to use the standard way, like using your CLI. on the command line interface to push all your changes to GitHub, because you know, when you submit your resume or something, they ask for your GitHub project link, and they see if you know you actually know Git or GitHub, or you have just did it the layman's way. So yes, being a developer, you need to know the command line tools, and yes, it's pretty much recommended. So let's start. So first, what I do, I go to this plus icon here, and I click on new repository. Okay, in the repository name, I will be giving the same name, first tech DSC. Okay, I will write first tech DSC. As I write first tech DSC, you can see that it will be automatically named first tech DSC, right? I can write a description. It's optional. I can add it public or private. It's optional. Uh, okay, come on. Okay, you can add a Readme file. Now, Readme file are pretty much very useful because it helps the user. Suppose if I have done a particular project, right? Now, just by looking at my project, you cannot say, looking at the line code, you cannot say what's there in my project, what it's actually doing. So you need a file which actually tells that what is there in the project and how can you get started with that project. So yeah, Readme file is really important. So that's the use of Readme file. There's a Git Ignore files. So these Git Ignore files are those files which are actually not needed to be, uh, posted online. These are, for example, if you are working on, like, suppose MPM, so you will be creating a folder named as node modules, which is not actually needed. Instead of that, if you have a package.json file, then you can just use that package.json and write npm install to install everything. So you don't need those files. So you can add those files in Git Ignore. Now you can choose a license. Now there are various kinds of license in open source development. I would recommend you all to use the MIT license. So that's it in while creating a new repository. So now I'll click create repository. Okay. Now my this repository is here, right? Now what I'll do, um, so here they gives us the commands which we need to use in our command line. So depending upon our particular project, suppose if you want to create a new repository on command line, then we can write git init add and these lines, right? But we have already created our repository, so we will not be using this. So instead we'll be using these commands. So we'll be pushing an existing repository from the command line. So the first command is git remote add origin, and this. So I will copy this file. I'll go to my this folder and I will paste. Wait, I'll copy this. I will paste it here and I will do enter. As soon as I did this, now what my Git local repo knows that this particular repository is being linked to this particular URL. So we have this particular URL. Now I will copy this particular command and paste it. Wait. Copy, paste. Okay. Now it creates a main branch and it directs me to the main branch from the master branch, and then I will push my changes. Uh, Paste. Now you see, this will push all my changes to my online repository, and you will find it says that writing objects 103 by 3, 238 bytes, main track, so and so. And what now if I refresh my online repository, I will find that first file is being uploaded. My first file, this particular this is a sample demo which we wrote as a message. This has also been uploaded here, and it also tells us when it was committed. It says 21 minutes ago, which is cool because we did not create this particular repo 21 minutes ago, but we created this local repo like 21 minutes ago. We committed this change 21 minutes ago. So it is showing here 21 minutes ago. Cool. So now if you want, you can like go and contribute to this project. It's up to you. Now I'll teach you. Suppose if you have this particular repo, right? Now if you don't, then how will you like bring this particular repo to your local system? Suppose now I have this particular repo, right? Let me get back and see if I like kind of delete this. Oh, let me delete it. Right. Suppose if I'm doing shift delete, it's not there, right? It's not there. If I do an ls, it's not there. Then what I need to do to like contribute to this particular project. So what I'll do, I'll go and click on code, and I will copy this particular command. I will copy this command. I'll go to my CLI and I will write git clone and paste this particular link. Git clone paste, enter. And this will clone the remote repository to my local repository. So now you can see I'll do an ls and I'll find my this particular file here, and I can again go here and check. So if you are like contributing to, if you are storing your files on GitHub, then you did not keep a copy of that particular project every time on your like local machine. You can choose to keep it on GitHub and clone it anytime you want. So this was a small demo of like pushing your changes to the GitHub platform. If you have any doubt or something, you can drop your comments in the chat box. It will be shown to me. Okay, let's move on. So that was a quick overview of the GitHub platform. Now, Google Summer of Code. So there are various programs which are being organized. One of them are Google Summer of Code. There is Hacktoberfest. There is Code Heat by Focesia. There are many more. So about Google Summer of Code, this is one of the biggest open source program which is being organized in the summer season. Like not the exactly summer season, but like after your summer breaks or your like in the month of like March and March to August, this particular event happens. This is a very prestigious event which happens every year. So let's see what Google Summer of Code is. So Google Summer of Code, often abbreviated as GSOC, is an international annual program in which Google awards stipends to students who successfully complete a free and open source software coding project during the summer. The program is open to university students aged 18 or over. It is being taken by Wikipedia. So what happens in this particular program is that many big open source organizations like say TensorFlow or OpenCV or Wikipedia, and there are many more open source projects, open source organizations which come and they take help of students to enhance their projects. When you you can go and collaborate with them in their projects, and if you successfully collaborate with them and for the time span of 3 months, then you will be given stipend by Google. It is somewhere around a $3,000 stipend which you get after completing the whole Google Summer of Code phase. And yes, it's really tough to be selected there. It's really tough to get selected, get your proposal selected there. So you need a good experience in open source collaborations and open source projects to uh, like make your chances more to get selected here. So yes, so that was all about Google Summer of Code. You can go to the links of Google Summer of Code and check it. The links might be there in the chat box. Now comes Hacktoberfest, which is live now. Now you can Hacktoberfest is like a beginner friendly open source contribution program where you can go and contribute to projects. On 4 successful PRs, you can go, you can, win a T-shirt and a few stickers. Now it's not so the Hacktoberfest is not about getting a T-shirt. Yeah, it's kind of a motivation which motivates us to make open source contributions, makes us successful PR. But in the recent times, what happened this year in the year of 2020, which is really sad for our Indian deaf community, what happened is that many beginner students, they went to these big repos and they made spammy PRs. They did something like, suppose if you have a website and you have a, suppose I'm giving you an example. You have a website and you are familiar with CSS, cascading style sheet. What they did was that suppose if there is something known as there is something like height of 100% or width of 100%, they changed it to like, they made unnecessary changes, like suppose 99% or 99% height, 99% width, which makes no sense. Like if someone has kept it 100%, then it's because of some reason, right? Now what happened is that they made they made unnecessary changes to the readme files. They made unnecessary spammy PRs, which just made the lives of the maintainers of that particular repository hell, like hell, because it makes no sense. If your PRA makes no sense to the repository, to the maintenance of the repository. So I don't know why this happened. Maybe because it was promoted in a bad way. It's to me what Hacktoberfest gave me last year. I was struggling a lot. I was like, unlike many beginners, I was struggling a lot in like finding a good open source project to contribute in. And Hacktoberfest actually gave me the push, like to get started and get accelerated in this open source contribution thing. And you saw in my GitHub timeline that from October my open source contributions take a major boost, and now I have more than 1,000 contributions to open source. So all thanks to the Hacktoberfest 2019. Also look forward to participate in Hacktoberfest 2020, and I will also request you all to get started, because this has really helped me in motivate me to contribute to open source. Because the first PR which was merged by, I remember it was merged by a big open source organization named Fossacia, and I was so much glad that I was successful at contributing to such a big organization. And it's really motivating. And just go and try to make your first contribution, because if you are an open source contributor, this will not only help you to understand how things work in an organization, but it also helps you to like kind of grow your resume as well. So it has a lot of perks, and I would recommend everyone to go and contribute to open source. Go and find yourself a project, and just get started with it. Yes, and please don't try to make any spammy PRs or something just to get a T-shirt at Hacktoberfest. I know there are people who texted me that can I just make like some dummy PRs, and you merge them. Like, why should I do that? Why should I do that? It's all about enhancing the power of open source, and not just to get a free T-shirt. So you go and explore the open source. If you feel any difficulty, reach out to me. I'm always there with you. My team is always there with you. So we are very much glad to help you in contributing to open source. We are pretty much glad and to help you in uh, contributing to like the Hacktoberfest. And if you have done really well, then definitely you will win a T-shirt. That's for sure. So any questions from your side? I can see a question. Hello sir, GitHub प्रोफाइल में highlights कैसे ऐड करें? Okay, okay, highlights, right? What do you mean by like exactly highlights? This thing or depend? Not sure what exactly he means by highlights. Hmm, if you want to pin some projects, then you can just like go to this customize pin and you can add your projects, your top 6 projects. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? If you have any questions, you can freely drop your questions here. Okay. Okay, then we don't have any questions here. Then fine. Let's move on. So these are our social media handles. You can go and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, GitHub. You can share your experience on Twitter, tag Google Devs, Google Students, and DSC BPPIMT, and use the hashtag Developer Students Club. We would like to know your experience and your learning about this particular technology. And thank you. Thank you. These are my coordinates. You can find me by Googling Ayushman Kumar 7. You can find me on Twitter, GitHub, and at DSC we also plan to like create some open source project to like help you get started with open source development. So yes, join our GitHub, join our Discord channel. The links will be provided in the chat box. So you can go and click and join our Discord channel, and that's it. And if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can reach out to me personally, or you can type your queries in the Discord server. We will be I will be really honored to like answer your questions, answer your doubts. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Ayushman. Thank you for this amazing session. Thank you very much. So, this is the end of today's event. Thank you for joining us. Hope you all enjoyed this session. Very soon, we will be back with many more interesting events. And all of you, please fill the feedback form. Link will be shared in the chat box. And yes, keep an eye on our social media handles to keep yourself updated with daily quizzes, key facts, and our further events. Hope to see you soon in our next event. Till then, bye.